Good morning, folks. It's 7:42 a.m. on the 12th month, 26th day, 2024. Right, let me move some things around here. What I'm looking at here is just an absolute impossible flow going over the top of New Zealand right now. And I'm gonna get my pen out. I'm gonna start going over some of this chem. There's been a lot of deployments, and it's definitely a soggy season. Excuse me. There we go. I had to charge it up, or I would have been live about a half hour ago. So right, if I'm lucky, I can just get this to put the line on this screen. See this here, in that curve here? This is coming down that way. That's coming straight across this way, but this is supposed to be a circulation. Yeah, but you got a radar beam here coming straight out. See how it's influenced the clouds there? And I suspect another one here, because if I put that there and I draw that there, the nexus point would go right over to here. So I think you have a device there. There's a scalar square down here influencing the flow across this area of New Zealand and Cook Strait itself, because if this is open for flow, if things can come in naturally or not. So let's have a look and see what the flow itself has done. I don't want Google Earth up there. So all this stuff through here, right? You see that lane? It isn't going past it, and this is forced up and above. So the dynamics of this is bringing a lot of moisture in across the center of New Zealand, and it's going to pack a wallop through here. I'm showing some pretty heavy totals in the coming days for this area here. We're going to watch real close. There's a lot of EMF down here. This can naturally occur. The flow across the ocean is right from this island. I expect to sometimes see that line. However, this line's here. That's EMF. And it's making a square right over here over a well-known super darn antenna array. That's down here in New Zealand. If I'm lucky, this will pull up without too much effort. It's a slow morning here this morning. I hadn't even heard a single bus, so we might have another busless day. So I'm looking here at a device here that I suspect is doing this, because I also noticed some action down in Antarctica itself. And you'll see this big array out here in this field with these antennas on it. And this is known as a super darn antenna array. Yeah, darn. Yeah, these things will really can pop a beam, and they can fire sideways, depending on how you modulate it. But this is designed to give its strongest signal towards Antarctica, and it's twinned with one over here in Tassie. And they very often act in tandem, that one and this one here. And so if I see emanations of EMF from this particular island area here as well, then I'll know. And this is part of your Tiger defense network over the horizon radar, and you'll see the shadows of these high gain antennas, and it's a different shape than a HAARP high gain antenna would be, but it's fairly similar. Tesla's death ray almost exactly copied in this right here, without a few of the emitters different. Yes, so and I was suspecting the beams coming from this radar here as well. I've seen some maneuvering going on up the Tasman Sea itself. So over at New Plymouth Airport, you have this device here between these buildings. Is the next radar. Well, it's not busy looking for your weather and what clouds there are. It could be doing some stuff to manipulate the weather, and it would be down here where I've seen a flow line. It's like a haziness that you'll pick up right over the radar station itself, or the condensates are a bit different. Oh, I dropped what I was needing over around here. See this here where I'm looking? And it's made a line where the clouds are reacting different on the layer of atmosphere that the beam itself of energy coming from the panning of the radar, focusing its beam in one area, it causes atmospheric perturbations to occur. And so this is a totally unnatural flow, New Zealand. Even just then there, you see this square form here, but I see an eyebrow shape to it. I see a bomb going off here. See boom, 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 boom on the edges right there. There's a lot of chem here to make the radar even have an appearance of a storm. But it's totally unnatural, totally man-made. Look at the big scalar square Nazi symbol there, huh? You could draw it, right? This is a swastikiring sky. This is a Mengelian society where Dr. Mengele's medical brigade is chomping their teeth at this. Look at this plasma nucleation on a low deck. And I can do it determined. Like I can see that cloud's over the top of that one. I can see when these go underneath the other ones. And that's very important in doing your determining. See the waveforms as they go over this chem, it nucleates into that look. And we're like that one there is fishboning. Yeah. Something came along and deployed some chem, and then the EMF did the rest and dispersed it. And you had a lot. You got the same similar type move going on down here, but on the low deck you have a scalar square. And right here, see this right here? Sorry about them. That's right here is a square of energy. This is going over the top of that, and another one is going over the top of this one. So we have three distinct layers of mix going on, and down here is where that device I was talking about is. You see this square here? I suspect that's Tiger firing its radar as well. And it's not used for weather modification. It's supposed to be there for defense and weather warfare. Well, I guess they're honing up on that right on top of you. Look at this cloud here. That's unnatural. And the EMF right over here going on. It's an obviousness. Move this along a little bit if I can catch this. And just move a couple more frames. You see that's moved over the top of that more, but this line has stayed in place. There's a V. So that's something worth noticing. So you have to know when if they put the energy and heated the low deck, heat the actual water surface itself. And as these waveforms are going through the water, let's say through here, they can create rogue waves. Right, because the water itself will react with the waveform. It's a medium it goes through, and it reacts to it. You just might not notice it. So you see the EMF look here like a tire tread going right over the top of you. These are not morning glory clouds. This is all induced by waveforms. Peaks and troughs. Peaks and troughs. You know, if you could look at the head ends, you can cut that in half and stand and look straight down it, you see that, or you would see a bunch of them like that, helicking, one reacting with the other to stir the mix. So you end up with more of a wind in the center when you get three big gaps like that. You had to start thinking 3D chess, man. You know, Star Trek that shit. Look at that, like commas, high. In parentheses, chem bombs. In parentheses, you see the big bomb right here? Look, right here, right there. That's not naturally occurring cloud formation, not at all. And whatever's going up is coming down, right? It's just falling out, and it's influencing health. It makes breathing hard. It does. Put it like this: it's not vitamins coming out of the sky. Right? There's no magic box suddenly making 5G safe. Look at this bomb here off the coast here. It's all pointing at a spot. It's very obvious when you start, you know, looking at clouds and thinking man-made and looking at patterns and seeing, is that pattern being deployed? Like this is sailing along just to add conditions for the EMF to propagate when it meets this mass here. And we can't determine what that's going to do until we watch. I just noticed the flow lines wanting everything to come in at a certain point, right? So where is the showers are going to go? You have to look at the EMF lines. And everything is pointing towards you guys. You got a channel of moisture set up right into here. See this in here? It's going to be your heaviest action is going to come inside this line right in here because the EMF says so, right? Make a line that way to make a line that way and run the pigs down the chute and whammo right into the slaughterhouse, so to speak. Anybody ever have to move pigs along with boards to get them one place or the other, or you can do with sheep? But it's moisture. It's just creating a wall of density. And it's easier for the pig to go somewhere else, isn't it? Oink, freaking oink. And if we stop feeding them, the pigs will go feast somewhere else too. Look at that bomb. That isn't a low pressure system out here. These are all chem bombs. Bomb, 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 bomb. And when you look at the radar return, it might show you, oh look, a low is forming. Is it really? If those things are cold, it's going to form a low because of temperature difference. So I'm watching this area out here. It looks like they're brewing something, and they're moving it north. This thing can gather a lot of moisture, and everything is coming in. Everything. It's all hit a line of EMF. And I did some maps this morning as well of mimic. To show why I'm saying what I'm saying and why these lines down here. See the big blast? On and off it went, centered over Newcastle, which is another big Tesla tech array type things where they use the devices for themselves. And right over here is a scoop, which is going to help direct moisture in towards this Vanuatu and Fiji. You got big problems coming your way. So without further ado, I'm going to go to that part of things. So let me check if we're rolling. I think we are. How many frames? It's a little low. Yes, everything is going good. I have to check my logistics there. I'm going to go to the forecast part, and I'm going to go right up to the tropical islands because, man, they're carping it. And it does look like the line over here at Port Villa is intact. Why isn't this acting right? This thing should actually give me that white dot. I hear it's putting up a hand. Well, I'm not happy with that part, but that's okay. We can just we can talk to the head. Yeah, they turned that whole tropical stream right towards you, Fiji. She's coming right down the center line here because you got a beam line here, and it is shaped like a wedge. Those lines I marked out and put up the other day are absolutely correct, and it does look like just north of Portville is the line of the heaviest rains that are going to come over the next 36 hours. Yeah, it's not going to be a very pleasant time for these folks over here. Fiji, you got totals over 1/4 meter coming your way. And so I want you guys to, along this coastline in here, on this side here, where your sticky up bits are, you're just against the water and wham, it hits those hills and stuff around you guys there that I've seen, and it's going to drop a lot of condensates. I'm glad I got to fly out of there to see what it looked like. Yeah, but Vanuatu, you're just in the sights. They El Nino'd with you with an El Grande BMOs and volcanoes and underwater. I don't think they're talking about it. I'm seeing all the indications of an underwater eruption going on, and nobody's talking about it. So where's the data on what occurred in that big quake? Because seeing these 6s and high 5s in this one area is telling me, because I looked under the water to see what it looks like. You see, it's a total bath for these folks, man. This is hard to even show. You want to see the totals? Let's just get to that part. I'm pretty much in agreement with this. They wait till the last minute to get honest. So they catch you out on the roads, I think, so you lose your vehicles. I have a lot of feelings about that's too low. And for over here, let's get this to what I'm expecting. There we go. Now we're talking. And I'm still expecting, I'm going to just call it out loud, I'm expecting about 15 centimeters to fall in this area here across most of this island, especially on this side as they're moving the tendril, and these islands here as well. At Port Villa, you look like you're really out of the main stop, but don't be unvigilant. Yeah, you're going to get some rain. Because if I look over here at the sat view and bring it over to you guys here, I can see now that the flow is being allowed through the straits, or whatever you call this thing, the birthing place of a lot of storms. And this Venturi here is open, but those are closed, right? So all the flow is coming this way. It's been directed towards Fiji, which Port Villa, you're still just on the edge of things here, right? So that's why I say I'm not totally in agreement with some of the totals I'm seeing, because if this EMF line just even drifts a little bit south, you're right in the main tendril, which is going between that one and that one. Right here where they're bombing. Watch this here, where they go in 2 different directions. Right here is what I'm looking at. I'm looking right at that area there. You see that big square bomb right here, right? And these are going in 2 different directions while boom, 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 boom. They're blowing these up out at sea, but that's square. That ain't a round storm. Hang on a minute here. See, that ain't round. The geometry on this. Look at the pulse pattern. Boop, 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 boop. Like a Wi-Fi symbol right there in the center of the storm. Right in the center of the storm. Let me do something with this. I'd like to have a better picture of that. Wouldn't you? Don't you want the best we can do? Every time, every time. Well, let's have a shot of that. Let's start with that. Look at this. Right here. It's got one of these shapes to it. If I have an emitter and it's going boom, 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 shooting waveforms out, it's going to make lines like that. Peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs. And somewhere over here is an emitter. Right? You could tell by the conicity. And if you got out a compass and drew a full circle around, you'll see it's right about here is exactly where it is. You know? Exactly. Right? I don't have a 3D BB. What did it do? I must have made a lot of little lines. Goes away. It's right there. You even see the sidelines? You got a ship out here. And then that continuation of that beam is going straight across here. You see it? In the clouds itself. Right? Conicity. There's another one here. Going out in the haze of these clouds. Right? So you can see when a beam has been deployed without having a radar image if you know how to read the clouds in the plasma. And that right there is textbook. And there's a lot of bombs out here. Evenly spaced plumes of stuff that's making clouds. Making clouds. You have to have a cloud to modify to seed it. Okay? Either you make it rain or you make it not rain. But to create a cloud is geoengineering by definition. Right? There's many methods. If something is here deploying, you can see all these things coming to the side there. See it in the center. Spokes on a wagon wheel, spokes on a wagon wheel, geoengineering up a flood for these beautiful islands out here. These people will then have to have taxes raised or some, or the International Monetary Fund steps in to the government replace their vehicles and all this that get ruined. Ruined. Sugar crops ruined. Fruit crops ruined. Mr. Bird says, excellent. So, back on to what I was showing you from these folks over here. So I'm going to run the forecast part of this so you can just see what's going to affect you. Yes, Happy New Year's. Not. Now here's your New Year's Eve, man. I'm going to drop this down to about a 3-day gap, and I'll take you over there. Here you go. You fucking bastards. Yeah, can't you? Is there any time anybody can have any fun? And all that corridor has pretty much been said that that's too far north. Yeah, more of the trough. Because what I'm seeing the radars doing, what I drew out earlier, is showing that that's what it would yield, and it's correct. So a big swath of fuckery is occurring, right? You're going to be watching yourself along this road and your New Year's travels. What's this highway called over there that goes to Brigalow? The A2. Okay, where they ate you, A2. That road of Dalby. You got rivers that are going to be running your way that you're going to have to contend with. Toowoomba. You're probably going to be using a radar to hold things surfing around yourself, and it's going to back up the moisture from inland. So I'll be looking for their radar to cause some action. That tweed heads and all that, yeah, look at that. I have it. That's fair accurate. I was thinking it was going to be more towards the 10s. Yeah, I didn't like what I was seeing for down here at Coffs and them, right? And so far it's not showing back up. And the EMF's not showing me it either yet. And so that's why I said sometimes I'll keep my mouth shut when I say it's not looking good for somewhere, right? So I got all sorts of quotes about totals and this. I said, no, man. I said, it means I'm keeping an eye on something, right? I do my own homework, you know, and I post it on here. So if I feel like grabbing it like I'm going to do now, I'll go over here and grab it. Like, here's my homework, you know, this is the flow. And this was from December 17th, you know, and I'll put these things up and compare with them later on. That's me right now. And this here was the radars that I seen on for your BOM feed, right? And I could see that this one was on. I could see that was only half on. So I knew how the flows were going to go. I could see what direction was that turning when it leaves a gap. So where is it slinging? Inside that gap, it'll hold a pocket of different weather potentials of different conditions, and it'll throw it, water or dry or chem or whatever. big beam on there. It was all pointing to flow here, and then a flow here was going to bring that back that way. Alice Springs, they put their block on in the center. I went down and had a look at your corner, and I seen some flows coming in over here towards Perth, so I'm expecting maybe possible showers, or you getting the fallout of all that chem, because I know it has to do that, because I looked at your radars. I could see that that's on, and the pulse that it made, and how it's going to drive this across the bite. Right, I seen that these radars were on. There is a gap coming up towards Coughs that has a gap in here, but I don't see the water to make it happen. That's why I kept my mouth shut. Right, and so I do my own homework based on looking at a lot of information, and then other people don't have to understand it as long as I do. You know, it isn't just about looking at Windy; it's knowing when Windy is lying to you. And they are. You only want to see the fires. They wasted no time on Christmas. Yeah, I got that pulled up too. So it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy show. So I'm going to zoom this back and let people see some stuff. Like I said, all the conditions for the upper round in towards the Hawke's Bay area is there. Right, I zoom, take this back. You ain't had the best of time over here. Right, this is coming over the next 48 hours, and then after that, you get another batch, and then a break. So it's all adding up to some really heavy flows. So you're going to have to be watching out for yourselves over here. And so will I. You don't get the best radar coverage of New Zealand, so it's more difficult to do your forecast. However, when you get chem like this doing certain moves, and I can read what the radars are doing like I did earlier, it may be easier to say, yeah, I see a problem here. I also see something else here you might want to take note of, is this here. In this hazed out area here has got the tomahawk. You look for this move. Look for the curves, right? That allows passage in, because as that cools off, it's going to drag things in. Dragging it right on the edges. That's never a good thing to see. And watch your quakes. You got a lot of EMF over the top, but you got to learn to read these clouds, and you got to acknowledge that geoengineering is going on, and learn the methods, learn what things do by watching. Look at the zigzags all through here. See it? Like a pretzel. And you got crazy patterns being flown off the coast. You see the little dots? See these dots? Here, 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 and here. Dot, 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 dot. Those are chem bombs, man. The knuckles, nucleus, like I said, a brass knuckles, right in the kisser to Mother Nature, man. What the hell are we thinking? What the hell, or why the hell ain't we thinking? Really should be the question. And so I'm going to roll this out now and let you see crappy New Year, and I'm not happy to have said that, but oh well. It's just a date on a calendar, a moment on a clock, a doodle-doo kind of a thing. Yeah, when you get that sideways lean on that pressure, that's going to sling some stuff up towards the north. So it's going to get a bit volatile. And every time the pressure comes back down, it's doing its tropical scoop, and it drops some more of that moisture right here in the trough. But we already know that gap over here is closed, and it's a half-on flow here, so it's going to start taking stuff down because this wind is moving like that. Yep. There'll be some fast flights from Bali into Brizzy, I'll tell you that. The winds are perfect for that flight. Yep. There she comes, the coastal cruiser. If that came a little more inland, Huckcuffs gets it. See, I don't believe all the time what they tell us, but conditions can change so rapidly through the deployment of a radar that, you didn't know it was coming on. But it takes certain moves to make some of these pressures do these wild curves that they got going on here. Four highs. I mean, 4 lows and a high. I mean, come on. And it takes EMF to separate those banks of moisture and cloud tendrils. It just does. That's how that fucking works. As we're getting in, now we're into the 30th here. Let's just go right to New Year's Eve. See, the trough's just getting it, the non-stop. What's the temperatures like? The roaster. The absolute roaster is at. Alice Springs did its job to heat things up, 43 out west. Usually about 3 a.m. my time is your hottest time of day. Yep, the blaster, man. They turn the roaster on. How's your roasty New Year? Nice cold pockets in here, and that's gonna feed some storms. I ain't believing it, man. Look at that cold overcast coming through the gap over here. We're going to be very vigilant about this. I'm not calling anything on or anything off. I'm just saying I'm not believing the totals they're telling about cars. The temperatures are saying aloud. Look how cold it got at night. Did Santa Claus leave the door open? It's a very cold pocket coming. And it's going to make things a bit wild. It's also going to increase the odds of tornadic activity greatly. When you hit it with that heat afterwards, that's going to make this turf area kick off. We're going to have some big winds. Big winds coming. Yeah, chem bombs. Winds. Yep. Shardy skies, man. Shardy skies. Yeah, it does not looking good, folks. Not looking good. That's as far as I really want to take it. This is a new year. Same old ball and chain. You gonna cut the chain this year, or you gonna wear it? All right. So we're gonna let this do the weather part now and continue to roll along where I had it before. I was over here on Saturday. Yeah, New Zealand is a non-stop, man. You got the Soakingtons going on and the Wellingtons, and the Thumb is getting soaked. Hawke's Bay is getting soaked. Pressure's doing some wild stuff. Absolutely all over the shop. But we can see why. All those beams they shot up and down through in here, and the influence stuff here, and to make that stall on the outside of New Zealand, there was nowhere for it to go. But that was an easy call. They show it, they just popped the moisture, just everything is just coming straight into Hawke's Bay. I mean, correct. You gotta know when to do that. Right. And it's hovering right over an island. It has a Nexrad on it. That's similar to the Burnt Pine Island here or the Willis Island there. It can really direct a lot of flows towards or away from a land masses near their area of influence. Good way to put it. Soggy seals in for Tazzies. We getting up towards New Year's Eve. See the lightning kicking off? It had to. The possibilities of tornadic activity is high. Very high. As these highs now are going to be fighting too, that's going to be wanting to go into that a bit. It's a numbers game. And this low here is wanting to be in that. And there's got to be a really low dog down here running the show. 961 and 967. When you can get them about 2 ticks difference, you can really move air masses around very, very efficiently. And so this is 2 highs actually bubbling between each other, acting like a low. Just a number difference of the 1020 will run that, and that's causing that flow, and the dips out here, so that's going to throw them dynamics into that mass over here that goes that way. So this will start throwing its dynamics from the bite into that there to come in towards Brisbane, and this is happening on the afternoon of the 29th. And it seems like over here Bundy North is getting a bit of a bath. Hey, I don't think it's making it into some areas of the Poon area because of the EMF being put out by that army base over there says that's a no-go Jones zone. It's hard to hold your whole country on it one spot so you can see everything. And another batch coming through for your New Year's there, New Zealand, as we're heading into your New Year's Eve would be, this will be your midnight, nearly. I think it's a little more north of that. Yeah, about there. That's where I expect the front dip to be. Yeah, that'd be about right for about your midnight hour. So you might clear up just long enough to see the fireworks in Auckland, which would be great news. I would love to hear that occurred because fireworks are festive. And they're also chem bombs. And also you have to add that into a factor of is it going to help make rain because of all the extra sulfurs and the chemicals. And you have to say yes to that, which would also add to aurora type effects in areas that have high electromagnetic frequency going on. Sky glow after fireworks. Start looking, folks. I'm just telling you stuff. So yeah, you can expect extra rains because of the New Year's Eve fireworks. Is all along these areas here. There's a lot of fireworks going on over here, and that's going to add to things. And so don't leave that out of your factors. You know, they launch fireworks over in a lot of the countries in Indonesia to scare away the evil spirits, right? They do it every day, and it can help trigger rains as well. Generals noticed that it would rain after battles when they was using a lot of cannon. Boom, 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 and all that to forces the condensates together, and you got a rainy night there, folks. In Brisbane, I don't think you're going to get as lucky as Auckland, because this will be about your midnight will be about here. The soggy season, man, that's a terrible storm that's going to be raging through this area. So I'll be on here because, like I said, I don't do nothing. I wouldn't mind going into town and watching the fireworks, but it's what you mind to do and what you need to do are two different things. That's right. So the very, very heavy cells going through the area I call the trough, and I've been expecting that. So yeah, it's not good at all. So watch your travel along this corridor as you're heading in through New Year's Day. Don't drink and drive anyhow. You know, if you invite somebody over, have a place for them to crash out. And check your roads for your routes home, because some of them areas out here are going to have flash floods. Yeah, I guarantee you that. And it'll be a night where tornadic activity is to be expected, because the temperature mix, all the chem, even the smoke from the fires, you can make a condensate. If I go over here to the actual world view, and I can see maybe some of the fires from yesterday when I went down here, and I had a lot. You see the dodgy distances, right? That may look a little pell-mell, but if I just put on just what was burning during the day, right, you see how geometric that is, right? I don't have to point out this triangle repeating itself over and over again in places, or this particular isosceles, 1, 2, 3, and then backwards over here is that isosceles. You ain't just doing that randomly. That many miles apart, the ashes ain't blowing in a straight line like that. And so these fires are absolutely, in my opinion, man-made. And they're burning some areas up here as well, and it's obvious. Whether that's a controlled burn or not, I don't know, but I know when I see a domino on the ground looking like a number 6, and I'd lift off the day burn, because it'll look more pell-mell until you start to say what happened in the day, what happened in the night. And so I do look to see the engineering of the fires themselves. You know, and this was Christmas. You know, there was no Christmas time at all in this forest, and it's like they repeated this pattern: double, 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 doubles, curve, curve. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Like the bird when they were smashing its cage and it was sweared, which is a cruel thing to have done to that bird, because it didn't know you had a new cage. It was just freaking out because his home was being destroyed. Anyways, I digress. Man-made fires, man. You can't tell me. These poor firefighters, man. At least let them know what's going on. Nanometallics causing fires to race across sand. No shit. Burn, baby, burn. Kangaroo Inferno. What do they got up their pouch today here? Gee, come on, man. I look like Cassiopeia. Da 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 da, yeah. Fires, do 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 do. The agenda, it burns. You heard that scorched earth policy? Yeah, take that literally. As they're burning you out. I'm getting burned out about showing these things. Terrible totals coming to those areas. Showed you the forecast. Bandana hatches. Hold on your lug nuts, boys. It's time to give them an overhaul. Big love, peace.